Hello, listeners. So as a family law attorney for such a long time, I've seen firsthand how difficult it can be to navigate co-parenting when alcohol is involved, especially around the holidays. SoberLink is a breathalyzer that ensures your co-parent is staying sober while they have the kids, which is especially important during this time of year when alcohol can be present at so many gatherings. Here's how it works. Your co-parent will test at scheduled times throughout the day. The portable device uses facial recognition to confirm it's really them taking the test, and tamper sensors ensure the results are accurate. Those results are then sent directly to your phone or email in real time, so you'll always know that your kids are with a sober parent. SoberLink is trusted by family law professionals for a reason. It's the top alcohol monitoring system, and its court-admissible data can make all the difference in custody situations. So if you're looking for more certainty and safety this holiday season, visit soberlink.com/Susan to learn more and get $50 off on your device.
Coming up on today's episode of the Divorce and Beyond podcast.
The first place that they should start is by finding themselves the right financial advisor who can help them to navigate this divorce process and with financial confidence, with clarity, with security, to set themselves up for success. This is the time when you're feeling overwhelmed. It's the time to put yourself first and to find that trusted financial advisor who can help you navigate this.
Hello, and welcome to the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I'm Susan Guthrie, your host. As a top divorce attorney and family law mediator for 30 years, I know what you need to know to get through your divorce, and most importantly, how to move beyond it to thrive and transition to your new future. My experts and I are here to give you the insider view into the process, so listen in for the wisdom and expert information you need on your journey through divorce and beyond. Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. I am Susan Guthrie, your host, and today, listeners, we are going to be asking you to swipe right on a financial pro if you are headed into your divorce. This is a topic that I have to say to all of you, I am really excited to be bringing to you because you know me, I love innovation. I like it when people are recognizing the hard parts of divorce and bring you something that is going to help you by making it easier. And my guest today is just that person. So today we have Lacy Garcia with us. She is the founder and CEO of Willow. Trustwillow.com is the website. It is a platform that connects both women and next-gen individuals with vetted and trusted fiduciary financial advisors. And why are we asking you to swipe right? Because this technology is like the dating app for finding the right financial professional for you. And here's the best part, everyone. It's free. It's free. Yay. So we're going to dive into, what Lacy is doing with Willow and what they are providing and how this helps you and what those pain points are. And I'm very excited to have you here today, Lacy. So thank you so much.
It is wonderful to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me on.
So one of the things I told you when you and I connected that I really felt like this technology that you're bringing to this space is the missing link. It is the thing that what I hear as a divorce professional, talking to people who are contemplating divorce, just starting a divorce, getting into their divorce. This is that area where for so many people, there's a disconnect because it's hard for them to get from, well, I think I need help to how the heck do I find that help? And I think for you, even though you are a financial professional, it was your own personal story that made this come home for you. So I thought, let's start there because I think what happened for you is something that my listeners are really going to connect with?
So I am a former financial advisor and marketer in financial services, but I didn't start there. I'll start by saying I was, the first part of my career, I was an educator, I was a coach, I was on the marketing side. And by the time I became a financial advisor, I didn't have all the answers, right? So particularly I found myself in, my mid 30s, my life blowing up, as many of our listeners today might be able to relate to, where I was unexpectedly facing divorce, right? Not having planned for this, not having expected it as part of it. There were so many financial complications and challenges. I had unexpectedly just beforehand really become the primary breadwinner and then the sole provider. And then I'm navigating a divorce. And I was in a relatively new career too. Going from head of marketing to actually acting as a relationship manager and an advisor. And so a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of trying to figure out everything, right? And here I was needed to find the right advisor. I needed to find somebody that I could trust. I was full of like shame and embarrassment and heartbroken and all the raging kind of emotions as I was trying to keep everything together, so beyond busy parenting and working full time and the divorce, and I had no idea, by the way, where to get started on any of it. So in many ways, Willow and trustwillow.com for the lens and the experience of somebody who is either contemplating divorce, getting divorced, coming out of divorce. We have built this from based on my personal experience and hundreds and thousands of other, not just women and not just younger folks, but also men, you count too, you're part of this as well, who've navigated this experience, who not only, who have the firsthand experience, who've been kind of in the seat of not being the professional, but needing this help and not having any idea where to start. And then also in collaboration with financial professionals, with lawyers, coaches, with therapists. So to really help folks to navigate on where do I begin? And one thing too is just the most important thing is we're joking about like this whole, one sort of upside sometimes to getting divorced for many people, this excitement about being able to get back out there, right? Maybe go on a dating app or start to try to have a new relationship. And I'd say before anybody gets it there, the first place that they should start is by finding themselves the right financial advisor who can help them to navigate this divorce process and with financial confidence, with clarity, with security, to set themselves up for success, because there's so many mistakes we can unknowingly make that make things even harder for us and worse for us. And that will be an investment of time. And I say that won't be a rebound relationship. That will be a relationship that will work
and go forward, right? Yes.
So, and when you feel like you're the most overwhelmed and you don't have the answers and it's the hardest, we made it as easy with Willow to just go to Trust Willow, fill out our survey, get the free call, get the free match, right? Give it, like, worst case, it doesn't work out for you, but it's only maybe, all in 30 minutes of time, right? And it's free. But this is the time when you're feeling overwhelmed. It's the time to put yourself first and to find that trusted financial advisor who can help you navigate this.
Well, and I have to tell you, I love the analogy to dating. This is what I heard as a divorce attorney and divorce mediator for 30 plus years. I am never dating again, or I'm never getting married again. So I know that some of my listeners are out there probably going, yeah, I don't care about dating. But when you get back out into that world and to that dating pool, there's this like huge plethora of people, especially on these apps. It's just swiping, and it's picture after picture after picture after picture. How do you know who the right person to pick is? And what you've done, it just as, in the apps, you have to learn how to be discretionary and look for what will suit you and the right person for you. You've done the same with Willow. But as you said, it's, as I said in the intro, it's trusted and vetted professionals. So you know that if they're on there, it's not some rando guy or gal who just put themselves out there with like a picture that they've cut out the picture of their ex or whatever on their profile. Your professionals are trusted and vetted. and you've created a process for helping match them up. And it's free. I mean, I think that's people are very sensitive when they're going through divorce to cost, yet your service is free. So can you explain a little bit how this works, how you actually, because you're kind of a mix between a dating app and a matchmaker.
First of all of the financial professionals, all of the advisors that we work with, they have to go through our certificate programs. They have to go through the process, which includes training, which includes references, which starts with making sure they're in good standing with the SEC and FINRA, with the background check, everything, and that they have the financial experience, the good track record. But then we get to know them. We coach them. We make sure that they're aligned with our values, with that they know how to integrate coaching, that they focus on at Willow, the 3 E's, which is about working with clients and engaging with them with empathy, educating, and empowering them. So empathy, education, and empowerment. And those advisors who are good people and who are passionate about supporting clients of all genders, but really, especially around life transitions and events and emotionally difficult moments, like divorce being a big or one of the biggest ones for sure. And then so it starts there. So then we think what's been missing, and there's an analogy here between when you're trying to find the right financial advisor, or when you're trying to find the right relationship. It's like, right? A lot of people who feel like they don't have the right advisor, they're not having a good experience. They don't feel that there's a personal connection. They don't feel like they can trust that person. They don't feel like that advisor cares about them, right? They don't feel like they have anything in common with them. And so those are all critical things as you're looking for either a best friend or a romantic partner or life partner or whatever, right? You want those things. So once we've vetted them and made sure that they've got all the financial criteria and all that, we then find out their personality type, their favorite hobbies, their life journeys, their astrological signs, right? All the things that you would look for as you're getting on a dating app. And then we ask you, as you come in and you go through and you give us information, we're finding out what's most important to you, what's going to make you click, resonate, connect with somebody. So then we're matching you with potential matches, or showing you, recommending potential matches based upon who we think is going to fit your criteria. It's going to be somebody that you feel connection to, that's really going to be set up to be able to understand you, relate to you, help you to become empowered. So that's how the process works.
I love everything about that, if I can just say, because I know for people very often, especially when it comes to the financial professionals, I'll say, what happens with the financial professionals is they either go to someone that one of their friends recommends, and maybe that financial advisor is great for that friend. But as you said, here you are in a difficult situation, getting advice about one of the most important things going both through your divorce and going forward, your money, right? Because there's going to be less of it, no matter how this divorce works out. When you take one pot and you split it in two, or in some way, there's going to be challenges. And you've got to get advice from this person. So you either go to the one the friend recommended, or much more often, you go to your attorney and your attorney's like, oh, well, I always use Bob. Bob's really good at it. So go to Bob. And your attorney may be right, but is Bob the right person for you just because there's someone who works well with your attorney? This is a really personal relationship. This is a person who's going to give you advice about as I just said, one of the most important things in your life. And one of the things I have to say to you that really spoke to me about what you've done here is that you have brought coaching skills into the mix when it comes to the financial advisors. Because I'll tell you, not many financial advisors, at least the ones that I know, have that. And what we know is, or at least what I've seen, is that we have a few challenges for people who are going through divorce that they're facing. And one of them is that, basically they don't acknowledge or understand that they even need this type of financial advice as early as possible, right? I mean, how early do you think is a good time, or when in the process do you think is the best time to get a financial
As soon as possible.
involved?
As soon. Yesterday.
Day one.
I'm like, bro.
I want a divorce. Here's my financial pro, right?
Obviously, as you're contemplating it, right, to think through the financial implications and what's going to help you navigate this with as much financial security, stability, sort of success as possible. But it's also never too late, I would say. I mean, because here's the thing. And that's why this personal relationship and somebody that you feel like you can share the biggest mistakes, your greatest fears, like the worries that keep you up at night are like, oh, I shouldn't have done this, but I did this. The things that you don't want to speak out loud. You need somebody that you can share those things with, and because they're there then to help you, right? And like that. Otherwise, you're going to end up in some hole potentially, or making other mistakes, and just and down a path that you don't need to be in any way, shape, or form. It's never too early, but it's also never too late. And why you need somebody who you feel really like comfortable with, and you can let down your guard with, and you can be honest with, because that's the only way that you're going to get the right advice that's going to help you to either take it to the next level or make sure you don't go down these pitfalls, all those things.
What I would say to anyone out there who's listening, no matter where you are, the time to get a financial professional involved is now. Now, wherever you are in the process, and if you don't have one yet, now is the time. But if you are in the early days, it's a simple matter. This is the other thing that you've done by creating this app for people, in this process for people to go through, is you could have literally had this discussion with your spouse yesterday, or be planning to have the discussion with your spouse, and you can already get started by going on. Explain the process of what happens when someone goes to trustwillow.com.
You click on the Get Matched. We take you through a survey that can take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you want to provide more information. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get a few sort of options to get a sense of, here are some of the advisors who could potentially be a really good fit for you and the reasons why. Then you will sort of give some feedback to us on who looks the best. But the next step is you're not actually talking to that person. You actually do a call with our team. You're able to kind of get on and figure out, you ask all the questions, you get a little bit of a coaching session kind of on what it is you're looking for, making sure that we understand and you kind of understand what the next steps in the process is. So all that again is free, right? And then once you have selected the advisor that you would like to speak to, first, we will introduce you to them. And then again, your first call with them is an introductory meeting, is a conversation, is free, is a chance to kind of get to know them, understand how they could help you. And that can be anywhere from 15 minutes or to an hour, depending upon that financial advisor and what they offer. But I think that one thing that makes a lot of people hesitant here is that they assume, first of all, I can't afford any of this, right? So for starters, you're not even spending any money yet, right? Then, like, not a penny. You're going to find the right advisor who offers the right support, the right services, and the right fee structure for you. And you might have lots of money in a very complicated situation and need lots of investment advice and other things. And there's advisors who are really set up for success for that. And their fee structures are kind of open and transparent and it will all make sense, right? But you may be like struggling to figure out how you're even going to do this from a financial standpoint. Every penny counts and you're worried about debt and all that. And there are other advisors who charge like a flat fee planning service. It runs the entire gamut. I feel beyond confident, because I know this from my own experience, and we know this from data like out there, that the money that you put in, whether it's just a little bit of money or maybe feels like anywhere from like $100 to like a couple $1,000 is the spectrum here, right? You're going to get that back. Like, you will.
By not making mistakes and making good choices.
Things that you're not even aware that you're doing, right? Tax-efficient planning strategies, the things that you just don't even realize. Even if we know them, we just aren't doing it, right? And this is person's going to then be your accountability partner, is going to help you to make sure that you do them, right? Because it's all about like doing it as soon as possible and then, compounding, right? For instance, like the time that's lost, not doing it now.
Hey everyone, it's Susan. So look, we know going through a divorce is tough and self-care can easily get overlooked. I wanted to share something that helped me, and that was creating a cozy space to relax. Something that can help you is Parachute Home, which is bedding and home goods that bring real comfort. Imagine ending your day wrapped in the softest sheets or a warm blanket. So if you're looking to add a bit of peace to your home, visit divorcebeyond.com/parachute. When you shop through my link, it supports the podcast, and you know how much I appreciate that. So remember, taking care of yourself is a big step forward. So check out Parachute Home and get yourself your own warm, cozy hug. Stay tuned for more from Lacy Garcia, founder of Trust Willow, as we continue our conversation on how you can find empowerment and financial freedom with the right support during and after your divorce.
So you could go through this whole process and then wake up and then be like, wait a second, I'm in this terrible financial position and I didn't even realize it. If you know that information before you start or as you're going through it, then you are empowered to be able to do your best. Obviously, we don't always have complete control of the outcome. Certainly when we're dealing with divorce, it doesn't always come out exactly how we want it. We wish, but you will know where you stand.
And now we return to today's show.
You bring up such a good point there. I want to emphasize it for those who are listening because they've heard me talk about this on so many episodes. I know I'm a broken record, guys, but for those out there, wherever you are on the financial spectrum, there's almost no one who does not benefit by having a full team. And you all know, I think your team is coach, financial advisor, and attorney, right? You need all three legs of your stool so that your stool's not wobbly. And I know you pay for these professionals, but what Lacy just said, I truly want to emphasize. You will save or get that money back by being well-informed. Knowledge is power, making good decisions, having help with your emotions so that you don't, aren't led by those, helping plan out your financial future and what your future is going to look like, with your children, et cetera. Good results come from a non-wobbly stool. It's very important.
So true, beyond true. I couldn't agree with you more. Willow, when we first started the company, we actually even just created our logo, right? It's the 3 overlapping circles and it's the same thing. It's all about making sure that you've got that financial guidance, a trusted financial resource, the right legal guidance, and that you are getting, the right coaching or therapy, right? That's helping to support and all of those professionals that you're working with, certainly on the financial side, for sure. It's 75 to 95% of it is emotional, right? They have to also be able to bring in coaching, to act as a coach, to be that accountability partner, to be that quarterback, to be that trusted counsel and coach and guide, right? And they have to start with that place of empathy. Otherwise, it's not going to help you the way that it needs to.
Yeah, you need someone who can meet you where you are right now. And that is a different place than you might be in if, you are not going through this significant change in your life. But when you are going through something that is a massive life transition, such as divorce, which is where most of you are right now, I have to tell you, this is those 3 prongs, the 3 legs to that stool mean everything. And you mentioned something earlier I don't want to lose sight of, Lacy, because I think that it will definitely resonate with those who are listening. And I can say, going through my own divorce, I, by the way, had a coach, a financial advisor, and a lawyer, everyone, by the way, had a different, it wasn't my own lawyer. I can tell you, we're all human. We have all made mistakes in our lives. And then when we have to sit down with advisors, it can be very challenging to talk about poor financial choices that we've made in our past. We can feel like we're going to be or be concerned that we're going to be judged by our financial professional. And you've worked very hard on recognizing that, issue and working with that's, I think, where this coaching aspect comes in as well for your financial advisors. I think you call it a judgment-free zone, in fact.
So critical. And I can speak from my own personal experience as one kind of upside of going through my divorce. And some people might relate to this, was that, I'd always tried to be perfect prior to that. Right. And kind of was always performance, and it was always on, and it would have been just mortified to admit that I didn't know something. Certainly I was also a financial advisor, right? Like, how can I admit that I have no idea? And I'm so just overwhelmed when it came to my own. There was something really freeing about, for me in my particular circumstances, I really felt like all of a sudden I got like stripped naked in front of everybody. A lot of things that I'm not aware of, and all of a sudden here I am. And it was just freeing in the sense that all of a sudden I was like, wait, I just don't know. I don't have the answers and I need help. And but guess what? If you don't have all the answers, or you don't know, or you're ashamed, or you're embarrassed, then you are part of the vast, vast majority. You are one of hundreds of millions others out there. That is the norm. And we need to start normalizing that that's the norm. But that's where, when I hear from people all the time, they say to me, oh, well, once I get my act together, or as soon as I get through this period, or as soon as I get this, because there's that fear of like, I'm going to go sit down with somebody and I don't have this done, I don't have that done. That is exactly the time when we need to do this, right? That is what these people are here for. I say this all the time. I'm like, okay, if you weren't feeling well, you're feeling really sick, and I said to you, so like, are you going to go to the doctor? And you're like, no, I'm going to wait till I feel better. I'm going to wait until I get through this period of time and everything's better. And then I'm going to go to the doctor. The same should apply, right? Why would you don't have to wait to go to the doctor to go to the doctor to get better, right? You can't even figure out how to figure out what your budget is, or you need to set up this 529, or you need to move like this account, but you can't do it. That's the time. That's the time to reach out. Or you feel like you just made some massive mistake. That's the time. Let's take all the shame and all the guilt. That's what and what's great is that this is a new paradigm in the investor kind of financial advisor financial advisor client relationship, where advisors are now realizing this is what people need, right? That they have to lead with the coaching, that they have to lead with the empathy, and the people who, I know people we're working with, Willow, genuinely care, and they really want to help you.
You've said something I think is critical for people to understand, because here's the advice that I hear a lot of my colleagues, divorce attorneys, saying to their clients. Well, when we get to the point where we have a drafted agreement, then I want you to take that agreement and have it reviewed by your financial advisor. So consider that process. You sit down, you negotiate all of the points, you do everything. Then you take it to a financial advisor who, with very little context usually, right? Because they weren't a part of all of this, takes a look at it and goes, well, I'm not sure why you're doing this. And I'm not sure. And really, is that the best financial choice? And it either ends up blowing up your agreement and looking like they were a problem, or it highlights for you some decisions that you made that perhaps weren't in the end what you might have wanted to do. And so one of the reasons why you want a financial advisor, as we said earlier, now, is there's empowerment. And I know you said this even for yourself as a financial advisor, there's empowerment to make good decisions for both your right now and your future, not just your future, but your children's future, when you are educated on your finances and what works and what can work as you go forward. And that empowerment piece can be hard for people to understand when they're feeling disempowered, which is how most people feel in the divorce process. So I wonder, can you describe a little bit what that looks like? Because it's night and day. Everything
you said is so spot on for starters. I mean, at least for me, my divorce was incredibly emotional. There was like heartbreak. There was a lot of pain. There's, I had a young child. There was a lot, right? And there's all the emotional
Yeah.
swirl, and you're trying to make all these decisions, right? And and some of the decisions that you're making as you're sitting down with the lawyer and putting together an agreement and making financial decisions, you don't even know what's up or what's down, right? If you do not have an understanding of what your financial picture is, like what your money, how much money you really have, how much your life costs, what these real assets are, or these real liabilities are, then you're going to then maybe make decisions based upon emotions to agree to certain things because you don't want to deal anymore, or not agree to certain things because you just want to fight that you really don't need to and is not going to serve your best interest and is going to just drive up bills, right? But if you don't have that, like that is the empowerment piece of it, is right, like understanding how much your life costs, how much money you have, how much money you need. And then like, how do you get there? What's the plan to get there? Because then you can be agreeing not just based upon kind of emotions or what you think is right, but the reality of, guess what? The dust settles, the agreement's done. Like the money is a requirement to live your life, right? To pay your bills, to make everything happen on a day-to-day basis. It's going to impact like if you haven't been working, you have to go back to work, right? Or you like what the reality. So you could go through this whole process and then wake up and then be like, wait a second, I'm in this terrible financial position and I didn't even realize it. So if you know that information before you start or as you're going through it, and you have then you are empowered to be able to do your best. Obviously, we don't always have complete control of the outcome. Certainly, when we're dealing with divorce, when we're dealing with the legal system, it doesn't always come out exactly how we want it. We wish, but you will know where you stand, right? You will know, okay, this is what I needed and I got it, or I needed this, I didn't get it. Okay, and now I got to figure out how I'm going to get here. Like, how am I going to make it work? How am I going to fill in the blanks? Or, okay, now I have less pressure on me and maybe I can scale down on certain things, but you need that. Or otherwise you start, after you get through this whole lengthy divorce process, then you don't even get a breath, right? You have to start climbing Everest again, right? Because you're living. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a second, now I got to figure out the financial piece of it.
Well, and you so beautifully described what this looks like. I'm happy that you said, or I'm appreciative that you said to people, empowerment does not lead to getting everything that you want. That is not sort of the path of this. Empowerment around your finances leads you to making the best possible choices for your financial now and your financial future. So that you don't get to, and this is something that I would imagine you as a financial professional, me as a divorce attorney and mediator see all the time, is people who sort of coast through their divorce, get to the beyond, as we call it here at Divorce and Beyond, and then realize that some of those decisions that they made were either emotionally based, not made from a financial knowledge base, and they weren't the right choices. And so I can tell you the number one, you guys have heard me talk about it, keeping the house when you can't afford the house. Number one I see is a financial mistake that often happens, but now you're dealing with it from a very different perspective that has different implications. Selling a house as a single person after the divorce is different than selling a house as a married couple during the divorce. I mean, that could be a whole episode on its own, but it's a good example, right? Whereas if you are empowered with your financial advisor, you talk through with them your options and get to make empowered decisions about what works best for you.
Not be as popular a statement, but divorce has real financial implications for both parties. But also, I work with a lot of female breadwinners, right? Or a lot of breadwinners, like male, female. But there are real implications that sometimes people need to think really hard about the finances, and maybe they don't end up getting divorced until later, right? Maybe this is that the timing of how you handle these things. It's really critical to understand the financial picture to be able to make a decision, if you can, before you even start the process, when you think really through like properly the timing and the strategy, because there are real financial implications. I know a lot of people kind of rush into stuff and want to get through it, and they think it's going to be so much better on the other side of it. And they didn't think through the reality of some of the financial implications then if they're in a position where they're paying alimony, right? But they're also two separate houses. And now it's two houses, not one house, right? Or, they're like, there's the reality of shared custody of your children. Like that's a real reality. It doesn't, you don't no longer have them 100% of the time. Or wherever you are in the process, like make sure that you take stock and you really understand, because the financial implications can certainly impact the timing and the strategy or the path that you take as you're going through a divorce, or whether or not you decide to hold off for a little bit, right? There's a lot involved here.
Gosh, you're so good at this, because that brings up a whole nother line of discussion, right? That I think people may not be aware of, but I have seen this. I've been around doing this for long enough that I've seen, financial cycles happen in the world, the financial downturn in the late 2000s and what's going on right now with mortgages and the mortgage rates being so incredibly high. And what people may not know is there are other choices that you can make besides divorce, that you can do post-nuptial agreements, you can come up with cohabitation agreements, you can come up with a whole bunch of different things that can still work for your family, but where it might not work right now because you can't sell your house because neither one of you can go buy a house with mortgage rates where they are right now, or whatever these things might be. These are things that you won't know if you're not exploring the issues facing you with a trusted financial advisor.
I'm so happy that you're saying, like, it's so true, right? This is why it's so critical, because sometimes what we think is in our best interest, or like, we're like, oh, I'm just going to get this done. I'm going to get through it and it's going to get so much better. Trust me, as somebody who's gone through it, some of the things I thought would get a lot better didn't, But the reality is, that's where in the beginning, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't have all the knowledge. And now, if I'd known what I know now, I would have handled a lot of things differently. That's why I'm so advocating that you get this knowledge, you get empowered, so that you aren't ending up in a place that in 5 years, 10 years, or even just, 6 months, that you're like, I wish I had known this before I made this decision.
That is the worst regret that, I hear people come through the door saying, I wish I had made a different decision. And if I had been better informed, I would have made it. The other one that I see all the time, I bet you see, is when the recipient of alimony budgets to live off of their support so that they spend pretty much every penny of it, and then realize when that support ends, they can't afford the lifestyle that the support provided. They can't keep the house going. They haven't been putting money aside for retirement, whatever those things are. I see that one all the time. Whereas if you're working with a financial advisor, that is something, budgeting and how that money is going to go forward in your beyond, so important. So it's not just the decisions about how you're going to divide stuff during the divorce. It's actually your finances far beyond the divorce that are important.
Yeah, the reality of how life is going to work on a day-to-day basis, how you're going to make sure that you've got the money to make life work. So critical. And these are the types of things, the reason we're doing what we're doing, right, is because we know, and I know firsthand, the pain of not knowing, the mistakes that you can make. What's amazing is that so many of those are so easily avoided. As easy as going on to Trust Willow, or just, reaching out to your advisor, or however you want to do it, right? Get the knowledge, have the conversation. Pretty positive that it will help you.
There is no divorce that happens that does not have a financial component to it. If you don't have children, you're missing that whole parenting aspect of it. Every single divorce has financial orders attached to it. Even if it's a waiver of support, it is going to have a financial aspect to it. So every single person should have some support. So let's talk about, I know we mentioned at the top of the episode how people can find Trust Willow, but let's run through all that again. Of course, I'll put the links in the show notes, everyone, but let's just run through how people can get to Trust Willow and, what that process looks like when they get there.
So you just come to trustwillow.com, either on your computer or on your mobile device. And it's as easy as you click on Get Matched, right? And then you go through the little survey tool, and it's going to, ask you some questions and provide a few some information. The more information you provide us with, the better. Then you're going to see the options of potential advisors. And remember, we just want you to kind of click who you think might be the best. You're going to get on a call next. There's no pressure. You're not going immediately to talk to that person. You're going to get all of your questions, all your concerns sort of addressed prior to making a decision about moving forward. It's as simple as just getting on, clicking, answering a couple questions. And I know that I wish I had this when I went through my experience before I started as I was going through. So I really hope that you will take advantage of it.
Guys, it's quick, easy, painless, and free. I don't think that Lacy could have handed it to you in any better form. Trustwillow.com, and the time to go to trustwillow.com to swipe right on a financial professional is now. It's when we, as we talked about, it doesn't matter where you are in the process, the earlier the better. But even if it's the, final days and you're just about to sign, better to get the advice now, or even if you're post-divorce, get the advice, get the support.
You could be post-divorce and still be going back to court. And still have a lot of financial implications especially if you're sharing custody and have children. It doesn't just end necessarily, right?
Oh, God. No, yeah. If you have children, it never ends, folks. Never, I promise you. But this is the intersection of all things that I love to see, because you've brought a technology solution to the very real problem that people are facing as they go into this difficult time of divorce. And you've made it so incredibly easy for them to find the best solution, the easiest way to swipe right on the right professional as a financial pro. So I very much appreciate what you're doing. I'm hugely supportive, Lacy. And I thank you for what you've done, for what you learned, that you created something like this from your own experience. Just is the sign of someone who is really ready to be a disruptor and change the world. And those are my people.
Well, same to you, Susan. Again, I wish I had known about you going through my course as well. And thank you. It's really a pleasure to be able to speak with you today. And to everybody who's joined us, thank you so much.
Go to the show notes or just go to trustwillow.com. You'll be able to follow up and get more information there. And again, thank you so much, Lacy.
Thank you for joining me today on the Divorce and Beyond podcast. I hope you found some information and inspiration to help you on this journey. Please join me every Monday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a new episode. And if you like the show, please take the time to subscribe and leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. You can also find more information on the website at divorceandbeyondpod.com, where you'll find links to the YouTube channel, transcripts of the episodes, and other bonus content. So I'll see you next week to help you move through your divorce and beyond.